So today I'm going to do a little video on the top 3 reasons that I see that women have resistant weight loss and abdominal bloating that's unexplained. And the reason I want to talk about this is that it is my mission to empower women to understand what's happening in their bodies and why, and what they can do about it. The point of this is not that everyone should be thin, not even close to it, but most women who are experiencing resistant weight loss are actually not feeling well, and there's a reason for that. There's an imbalance going on. So, most people come to me thinking that they have a thyroid issue, but quite honestly, even when we do a full thyroid panel that looks at more than just the thyroid stimulating hormone, there's more, it's something else going on. It is almost never the thyroid gland that is causing resistant weight loss, though it's an easy thing to point to and think of when we think about resistant weight loss and other associated things going on for women. The number one thing that I see is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It's known as SIBO. It can come from the use of acid blockers, and that's because we need adequate stomach acid to kill bacteria that doesn't belong in our small intestine. Stress, antibiotic use. So again, we don't want bacteria that don't belong in the small intestine to take up residency there because they'll produce gas, and that makes us feel bloated. It slows down intestinal motility, causing constipation and very resistant weight loss for people. So actually, in reality, the vast majority, the lowest number I've seen quoted in the literature would be that 75% of people with an IBS diagnosis actually have SIBO. If you have had this experience, you know that your scopes, when they take a look at your esophagus and stomach, or do a colonoscopy from the other end, those will all look clean for people who have SIBO, and it's very frustrating because they get a prescription for antidepressants and that doesn't work. There is a solution for this. It's easy to test for this. And people feel so much better once they understand that they have SIBO and what to do about it. The second thing that I see extremely commonly is yeast overgrowth. And this applies to people who have intense sugar cravings. Is the number one way to know whether or not yeast is playing a role. And again, stomach acidity can play a big part here. Inadequate stomach acid is a root cause for lots and lots of different things that I see. Because we need that stomach acid to kill yeast. So low stomach acidity can allow yeast to flourish in the gastrointestinal system. Antibiotic use, and the biggest thing that I see is birth control pills causing a change in the microbiome that allows a yeast overgrowth. Most people who have an overgrowth of yeast experience intense sugar addictions that make it very hard to lose weight. Birth control pills deplete us of lots of nutrients as well, and the yeast depletes us of vitamin B6, which causes a hormonal and energy disaster for people. They feel really sluggish because their neurotransmitters are not being converted properly. And also B6 is needed to support progesterone levels, so people do get estrogen dominance from yeast as well, and that causes resistant weight loss too. Again, very easy to test for. In urine actually is the best way to look for yeast metabolites in the body with an organic acids test, but you can pretty much assume you have yeast overgrowth if you simply feel like you cannot break your sugar addiction. And then estrogen dominance is the number 3 thing that I see that causes resistant weight loss and abdominal kind of bloating and PMS symptoms for people. We want estrogen to be balanced with progesterone, and I use a Dutch test at a particular time in the cycle when both estrogen and progesterone should be plateauing to see whether or not estrogen is running the show. Because that will cause all kinds of discomforts, PMS, breast tenderness, sleep disturbances, and again, resistant weight loss and things like PCOS. And it is possible for us to balance our hormones. There's lots of different interventions that we can do. Detoxification is so big for me. I work on detoxification with everyone because almost 100% of the time people do need a little bit of detox support or a lot. And what where this relates to estrogen is that if you have sluggish detoxification, your estrogens are not making it all the way out of the body. They're just being recirculated back into the system, and that can cause estrogen dominance with the symptoms that I mentioned here. So what can be done about all of this? I love testing. Without tests, you're just guessing, and that makes it really difficult to make any headway. Reducing sugar intake is a primary intervention for just anyone who wants to improve their overall health, but obviously with resistant weight loss, getting rid of sugar is the biggest thing, and bloating and things like that. Cutting out sugar makes people feel way better as just a simple intervention. And along with that, replace those sugary foods with whole foods diet as much as possible. Living by the 80-20 rule will give people a lot of benefit. 80% of the time, whole foods diet, 20% have that treat. And then interestingly, brassica vegetables promote detoxification. So think of broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, asparagus. Those kinds of vegetables actually drive the second phase of detoxification in our bodies and can really help, in particular, estrogens get out of the body if you have estrogen dominant symptoms. So that's all I have for today, and it's my intention that this empowers you to take care of your body and try to figure out why you are having resistant weight loss, abdominal bloating, and hormonal issues. It is possible to get to the bottom of it and resolve those problems.